One family, one people, one planet, one love. One family, one people, one planet, one love. One family.
Good morning and welcome to SoulCall Sunday. My name is Lisa Ferrero and I am your host for SoulCall Sunday Live. Welcome to everyone who's in the room. Let people know you're here. Great to see you. And wherever you're joining us from around the world, we welcome you as well. And if you're watching this later, we welcome you too. We know you've got choices on Sunday mornings, and it's nice to see people live streaming it later. And we welcome you to this very special week, this between the holidays kind of week, between Thanksgiving and the kickoff to the month that begins with the letter D, which is a whole different psychology and experience on the planet, isn't it? As many of you know, we've got our Jazz Up the Holidays fundraiser coming up on Wednesday, and super excited about that. And also this Tuesday is Giving Tuesday, and we're excited about that. We're doing lots of really amazing things here with your contributions and your consciousness. So we appreciate all that you do to participate with SoulCall Global, and thank you for joining us. Luke from Ontario, hello. Good to see you this morning. So we're going to begin this morning with a practice of Qigong as we wind down the month of November, which was the focus of which was kindness. That was our theme for the month. And we're going to dip into some of what it would take to become a bodhicitta, a bodhisattva, on the way of bodhicitta, which is the awakened heart. So we're going to share some wisdom from Tibet and one of my favorite Buddhists, Pema Chodron. I like her wisdom. It's kind of simple, right? I see people nodding. Not nodding off, but nodding. Well, this is the first time in the room today, we've got almost more men than women. So guys, yeah, this is really great. And they just keep coming. The hits just keep on coming. Good morning. And so we're going to bring Helen over, and we're going to begin in recognizing that it is our participation with all of these laws and principles and miracles that surround us and embody us at all times. The trillions of cells. At the center of each cell is that spark of the infinite flame, the one that knows, the divine intelligence. And so it is with our practice of pulling that in and letting it transform our being so that everything we do becomes a prayer offered to the infinite divine beloved, the God, the goddess, whatever you call it. May our lives be walking, living, breathing, talking prayers. And so this morning we welcome Sifu Helen Yi to take us through a practice of Qigong. And if you're in the room and you want to find a little space to practice.
Okay. Good morning, everyone. Yes, just find yourself some space. You don't want to hit your neighbors or anything like that. All right, so wonderful to see everyone. I want you to go ahead and bring your awareness within your own body. And just start feeling the breath coming in and out. Feel your feet rooted to the earth. Allow yourself to pull in the consciousness and the awareness of the Qi. From here, bring your hands to your lower dantian, which is located in the lower abdomen, centered into the body. Allow your focus to continue to be here. And from here, relaxing the hands down to the side. Slightly bending the wrist, opening the lao gongs so that they can draw the yin qi from the earth into the lao gong points, up into the arms, imagining it with your mind's eye, the light of qi coming in to the body. Feeling it like a magnet, drawing it in From here, relaxing the wrists, turning the palms upwards, floating the arms up, allowing the chi to gather between your arms, feeling that macrocosmic energy of the energy of chi. Swirl it in from the sky, bringing it in the yang energy into the bi-way point where the crown chakra is. Visualize that golden light of chi, directing it down into the bi-way, relaxing the elbows, keeping the hands light, guiding the chi down. Feel it coming into your mind, your brain, into your eyes. See it lighting up the sinuses, the throat, pushing out any kind of stagnation, any blockages. Coming into the lungs, feel it all into the muscles, your tendons, into your joints, the fascia, coming into the stomach. Allow that golden light to penetrate into all systems of your body. Feel it going into the different organs, the liver, the kidneys, gallbladder, spleen, into the lower abdominal, pushing out any blockages, down into the earth. From here, relaxing your shoulders, really connect to that vibration and tingling sensation. Continue to breathe, breathing in the chi, the life force that connects to all things living. Taking that feeling with you all throughout the day. Thank you.
Thank you, Helen. Just taking that into a meditation, just finding yourself relaxed. And which way do I want to go with that? Yeah, this way looks good. Let's just opening up to a meditation. If you know a meditation posture and you want to sit in that particular way with feet flat on the floor, maybe the spine straight, to allow those subtle life force currents to dance with infinite healing light up and down the spine. And if you're aware of someone who's in need of healing of body, mind, or spirit at this moment, direct your attention and send forth white light energy, surround and permeate that person, those people. As we pray, oh infinite divine beloved, open wide our hearts. Open wide the consciousness, our inherent intelligence. Help us to become more like nature in the way we nurture self and others. The compassion of rain, the spark of joy, the lightning bolt of purpose, the grace and poise of a soft breeze. May that be the bliss of our soul as we flow through life, igniting the hearts of all. May we become bodhicitta, bodhisattva, the awakened heart, one who is awakened. Help us to do our part in changing the world as we change ourselves. Help me to release all the areas of my being where I judge myself. Removing that judgment, I allow for love and compassion to fill in its place. And I become more awake, more alive, more in tune, like the divine tuning fork of bliss, of love, of light. Help us to remember we are always connected in the one. We are never separated from thee at all. There's a beautiful Buddhist saying that says, if given a drop of water, if we drop that drop of water onto a hot stone, it evaporates and disappears. But if we drop it into the ocean, it lives forever. May the drop of your divine wisdom, your divine love, fall into the ocean of our hearts. And it may live in service to thee forever and ever, as the expression of me, of you. This we ask, this we know. Om Shanti, peace, Amen, and so be it. Let's just meditate for about 30 seconds. We'll come out of this meditation with a beautiful remembrance of a song called Take This Heart. So in this moment, let us offer our hearts just as they are at this moment. To be polished, to be refined. Let us be with what is and be okay with what is. Please enjoy this beautiful song. Take it into your hearts.
Take this heart, let it burn in the flame of the heart of the awakened one. Light upon light, bathed with babe, dreamer, dreaming my soul. Lotus flower, drop of honey, precious heart, liquid gold. Take this heart, let it burn in the flame of the heart of the awakened one. Take this heart, let it burn in the flame of the heart of the awakened one. exquisite surrender, song of the soul, singing itself back to you. The heart is a window, eyes are the sun, shining light of truth. Take this heart, let it burn in the flame of the heart of the awakened one. Take this heart, let it burn in the flame of the heart of the awakened one. In the heart of the awakened one.
Take this heart, let it burn in the flame of the heart of the awakened one, which is what we're going to talk about today, the bodhicitta, the awakened heart. And this comes to us from Tibetan Buddhism. And I know to have an awakened heart, sometimes you can be contaged with somebody else's awakened heart. Have you ever had that experience? Or it's an experience of going someplace where everybody's into a certain thing and you've never been there before, and just by being with a person who's really into it, you can, as some people would say, you get that contact high. Just like, oh my God, this place is so much fun. And so I know yesterday was a little bit of a tough day for all the Ohio State fans. It's not why I'm wearing blue. I generally wear blue. I'm not a Michigan fan, so I'm not any of it. I enjoy the enjoyment of others as they enjoy the thing they like. But being that it was a tough day, I thought I would bring to mind an experience I had that was one of those epic experiences, pinnacle experience of an Ohio State football game experience. And just to give the point of how much one individual, you, me, can affect others with your joy, with your passion, with what it is that brings your heart alive. And so this spark was, several years ago now, I attended an Ohio State football game. I didn't even know who they were playing because it didn't matter. It was everything that leads up to the game. So I attended the game with a friend who was one of the legacy family people, which means they've been going for generation after generation after generation. And so it started off with, we had to go past, is it Woody Hayes? Is that his name? See what I mean? This is bad. Help me, people. You know this better than I do. Woody Hayes, we had to go past his grave site first and do a little prayer and offer a little flower just to get the day started off right. Then we had the ultimate parking pass, which was right next to where you wanted to be. It was a set space, so you knew where you were going to park. You didn't have to fight the throngs of other people coming in. And already, just from hearing the people walking like the phoom, 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 and the joy and you're in the middle of a joy bubble, which is Ohio State football. You can't help it. So I was automatically like swept into it, smiling from ear to ear, and as my friends pointing out all of these landmarks on the facility around where the horseshoe is as we make our way over to the horseshoe. But first, we got to go to the skull session. And for those of you who aren't Ohio State fans, have no idea what I'm talking about. I didn't know what I was talking about either then, but it's the place where they used to play basketball. And it's where the band, the Ohio State marching band, comes in and plays a couple of marches, and it's just pandemonium. It's joy just intensified. Like if you're a Spinal Tap movie fan, it's past 11 and it's like way over the top. And I could feel it in my cells as a marching band, a former marching band nerd. I was just in heaven, and I didn't want to leave there. I wanted to stay right there in that energy. She's like, no, no, there's more. And as we made our way from there to go to not just any tailgate, what did you call the tailgate the other day? Helen couldn't remember the word tailgate. She called it a fender party. I'm like, oh, what? As we made our way to the fender party tailgate, it wasn't just any tailgate. We were on our way to the president's tailgate, which is inside, and it's buffet tables, and the president of the university comes, and everyone's talking, and free drink tickets, and just people are just having a really good time. And I was at their table with the entire family. I got to meet them. But on the way, we're walking through, and there's somebody walking through the crowd, and everyone's just flocking to this person. If I can just get a touch of his cloak. And I was like, who is this? And all of a sudden, my friend exclaims, there he is. And I said, who is that? And it was Urban Meyer. Urban legend, as I like to call him. It was just like one of those. But at that moment, she looked at me when I exclaimed, who's that? And at that moment, I had the distinct realization, you know how sometimes you just know? She just looked at me, and I knew I better experience this for all it was worth, because I was never going to get asked back again. Wow. There's that knowing. It's just in your cells. You can just tell. So it was like going to a concert. You know, then we made our way through the tailgate, and then in the throngs of people again, like jockeying for position to go up to their seats, as we were jockeying into position to go down to our seats, right at the 45-ish yard line to watch this game. It would have been difficult to not get caught up in the joy and the enthusiasm of a crowd that is that excited about the same thing. If we, who are excited about elevating consciousness, bringing more love, more compassion, more joy, more expression, if we could all stay together in our various expressions of how we do it, that's where it's different. It's different because we each do it in a different way, but we're expressing the one thing. So if I look at that and I look at the team spread out all over the field, not everybody can be the quarterback, not everybody can be the wide receiver, or the fullback, or the halfback, or the tight end, or you couldn't have one person play all those positions. The game would not work. But each one of them, as we learned yesterday, has to do their part to the best of their ability, and sometimes their opponent will do their part to the best of their ability, and it appears as though for that day, the opponent won. Just for that day. There's always tomorrow, right? There's always tomorrow. And the coach is, you know, we can say it's divine consciousness, it's the infinite one who's the coach of the whole thing, but it's our participation with the coach. Our internal coach has to be the one that keeps us up for the game, and in recognizing that every moment we are in the game of life. So if we go with that, we can start to become these spiritual warriors. I pulled up a book the other day. Every once in a while, I find books in my house that I just I haven't seen in years. I'm like, oh my God, I used to love that book. And this is a book called The Places That Scare You, A Guide to Fearlessness in Difficult Times. And it's by Pema Chodron. Wonderful book. And I started to flip through it and look for some things to talk about today with regard to kindness. So our theme, the last week we have for the theme of kindness for the month of November, loving kindness is a Buddhist practice. They practice loving kindness. And some of the keys to practicing loving kindness, the first and foremost is to practice it toward the self. Being loving and kind to ourselves. And that generates this opportunity for compassion. Because the more we can understand or allow ourselves to have our experience of what's really happening inside, we can have compassion for others when we are observing they're having a reaction or a response that is not favorable to the situation. We can have compassion for them. And that doesn't mean we're better than they are. It's just, oh yeah. Have you ever looked at somebody going through something in a not so graceful way and say, "Oh yeah, I remember when I used to do stuff like that," or "I had a day like that once." Did you ever have a day? Did you ever have a month, a minute, a second, an hour? We can all recall a time where we had to practice the craft of bodhicitta, of awakening the heart, awakening the heart. But in order to awaken the heart, this is one of the things, one of the 10 Commandments. We find it through all the faith traditions with which we are familiar at this moment in time. They're evolving and new ones are coming to the planet. We'll be sure about that. But as we evolve it in our participation, recognizing that the 10 Commandments, love the Lord thy God, whatever you call it, the infinite. All your heart is the first one. All your soul, all your strength, and all your mind. Did it ever occur to you in order to give something with all your heart, you need to have possession of the thing you're giving? It would be like stealing or offering something which is not really yours. You've got to understand the contents of your heart and clear out the things we don't want to participate with anymore. So it takes this supreme practice, all your heart, all your soul, all your strength, which is when we sit in meditation, we're offering our stillness, meaning my energy's not doing anything but being still right now. All my mind, that means I've got to harness control, dominion over my thoughts. If I can offer all of my mind, I need to be able to collect all of it and say, here, right? If I said, go bring me all of the forks and knives out of your silverware drawer, you would go and you would just collect them all. Here they are. They're obvious. Sometimes it's easier to see what's outside than it is what's inside. What is in our thoughts? So sitting with what is the contents of your heart, to become the awakened heart, we've got to sit with the heart. What's in there? Empty the contents of it and look and see. This I love, I'm going to keep this. This, no. So in meditation, sometimes I start with a meditation practice. Those of you who join me on Wednesday nights now, how many times have I said, just like empty the contents of your day. Just as if you collected all these experiences today, beautiful ones and everything, because your life is an expression of the infinite. Just empty it at the altar of divine consciousness, at the feet of Divine Mother, and say, here, this is what I collected today. Some of these things I don't ever want to see again. Some of these things I really like. Help me to be okay with the whole thing. All right? Mrs. Claus just walked in. This is why you got to be in the house. You got to see what's happening in here.
Oh, dear.
You got to be okay with the contents of your audience, because you never know who's going to show up. So how do we become this spiritual warrior? It's like becoming a content. Going to a concert with. When you walk into the concert, you know that everybody else there loves this act that you're about to see, right?
Yeah.
Or at least they love the person who loves this act that you're about to see. So there's still an air of joy and anticipation. Somebody's going to experience something joyful. But the point is, these are examples of shared experiences of joy. And so shared experiences of joy, kindness, is what awakens the heart. And so we can practice this. So from this book, I pulled a couple of things, and they're called the Lojong teachings. And the teachings, the Lojong teachings are teachings that help to train the mind. And that word is Lojong. And it started from the 11th century when a Hindu rishi, like a sage, named Atisha Dipankara brought these teachings in the 11th century from India to Tibet. And that's when they started to practice these things called like warrior slogans. There are 50 of them that they have. Rather than giving you 50 warrior slogans, I'm going to invite you to come up with your own warrior slogans. And what the warrior slogan is about is in helping to train the mind. When we get into a situation that we might have experienced before, something is incoming. It's the person who knows just how to push your buttons. That feeling of whatever it is, you're just going to lose your mind and say, I want what I want. The warrior slogan will kick in for you and say, but. So one of the things is it starts with, before we get into the warrior slogans, it starts with, they say train in 3 difficulties. The first one, acknowledging our neuroses as neuroses. It's that thing we just seem to not be able to get control of. We just do it. To train that, the first step in that, of course, is recognizing, I always go this way. So the second step is doing something different. First is to notice it. Second is do anything differently. I always do this when this happens. This time I'm not going to do that. And then the third one is aspire to continue practicing this way. I'm looking at everyone in this room is accomplished in so many different ways. We all have amazing things. Like Paul can do a bunch of different things. You're going to see some of his handiwork. Rachel, like every one of us does something amazing. But I'm going to ask you, and you can just shout it out. Have any of you just did it once for 5 minutes and became expert? Come on up, I'll trade you. Tell us how you did that. No, it's just not how it goes. So we continue the practice. And there's a word called discipline. And discipline is the art of getting what you want. Keep doing it. Even if you do it for 10 minutes a day, every day, you become proficient at this thing and you can do it much better. So training, harnessing the mind. So again, training in the 3 difficulties to become the awakened heart is to pull the mind into the heart and start living from acknowledging where we have these habitual patterned thinking that needs to stop. Grab it, like a child running off the porch into the middle of the street. You don't think, you just grab the kid and put it back on the, right? Grab the thought. No, you're not going into the street and creating chaos for me today. Ain't gonna happen. So look at those thoughts as little wild children just wanting to run amok. They don't know any better. But the center of you, the you of you knows. You would be the one who would grab the kid. Not one person said, no, I let him just go and see what happens. You would, even if it wasn't your kid, you would grab the kid, right? So grab your thoughts before they run into the street and cause chaos. Put them back on the porch, sit it down, sit with your heart, sit with your thoughts, and do anything differently. And then continue to practice that and see how the events of your life change. So warrior slogans. In order to, so we arrest the thought, we stop it from happening, we stop the wild child thought from running into the street and creating chaos in our day. This is where your warrior slogan comes in, right? So rather than me giving you a million warrior slogans, I want you to come up with your own warrior slogan. Come up with a list of 10, and if you do it, send them to me, and I'm going to put some of your warrior slogans in the email. Everyone, info@soulcallglobal.org. Send us your warrior slogans. So some of my former warrior slogans, like from my choir directing days, which I'm going to do again sometime because I love it so much, is when teaching people how to sing parts in a choir, one of my warrior slogans, and some of you will remember this, is when in doubt, lay out, right? When in doubt, lay out. If you're not sure what you're singing, don't sing. And the other one is when trying to hit notes. If you can't hit it, forget it. Just like, well, I never told anybody don't sing. I just like, if you can't hit it, just forget it. You know, so those are some of my fun little, you can make it a game is the point. It doesn't have to be some, you know, we're going to conquer the world. Conquer yourself and make it fun for you. Make these things fun. I'm not sure about you, but the more fun I'm having, the more I want to continue doing the thing. Is that just me? No, I love hard work. There's time for that, and it is hard work. Sometimes to get to enjoy more of the joy, it takes some real effort to let go of these habits of pattern thinking. Some of them are learned, some of them we've installed on our own, but we are the ones who always keep choosing it. No one else can do that for us. So this is the practice. This is the practice. So do something differently. And the other thing offered when somebody says something upsetting, just to pause and ask yourself. This is from the book. Of the 2 witnesses, hold the principle of 1. Of 2 witnesses, hold the principle 1, which is the primary witness, which is you. Meaning, of the 2 witnesses, self and other, we are the only one who knows the full truth about ourselves. So we are always the principal witness. So we can't project onto somebody else, well, they're only doing that because I don't know that. I really don't know the contents of their total being. I know the contents of mine, and it's for me to work with. When this comes in, it's for me. Or when these people leave, that's for me. They're doing their thing. I need to work with what's coming to me from this to that. As more people come in to my life, I'm not sure about you, but I'm grateful for all of it. It becomes a spiritual practice. The more I can become the awakened heart in the face of all faces, that means I am recognizing the God in others always. And I become the perfect reflection. But as we were talking about from the book, The Holy Science, not just becoming the perfect reflection, we become the light itself. Because we don't hold much. We don't hold much, right? So allowing ourselves to change. Anybody come up with a warrior slogan for yourself while you're sitting there? Anyone out there want to share a warrior slogan? I can't believe I ate the whole thing. Jim.
Look up and keep going.
Look up and keep going. Very good. Sounds like a good one. What you got, Dave?
I'm a channel of love and light and healing energy in my world.
Okay, I'm a channel of love and light and healing energy in my world. So you would apply that when somebody brings something to the contrary? Stop. And my warrior slogan is, no, I am not that thing. I am
A channel of love and light and healing energy in my world.
I love it. And yes, and so be it. Linda, do you have one?
I care for myself and others with my thoughts.
I care for myself and others with my thoughts. Beautiful. I like when people care for others with their food too.
Joy.
Joy McPherson, yes. From our old softball days, it's the bunt goes to one. That is the law of the land in the softball thing. Like, bunt always goes to one. That's really hilarious. Thank you for that. So, warrior slogans. Come up with your own warrior slogans and wake up. Wake up to this divine energy that is you, that consciousness of joy, of love, and allow for whatever comes in to show you that. Be grateful for all of it. Be thankful for all of it. You know, just like, and I'm going to go back full circle to Ohio State, you know, Paramahansa Yogananda would say, like, a wrestler always fights with a stronger wrestler. That's how you get better. You know, if a team comes onto the field and does what they do more effectively, then you did it. Learn from that. You don't quit. You've still got some games left. I hope you still have some games left in you. Get back in there. Learn from it. Don't beat yourself up, but just assess. You know, I remember, since the bunt goes to one, that's what one of our coaches was so brilliant at. That even if we got beaten, we would spend part of the first practice just looking at the plays. What happened? What did they do? How would we do this differently this time? Who was in their head? You know, mental errors she would never accept, which is what I loved. Any mental error could totally be resolved. If it was a physical error, you know, a bad hop bounces over, and you can't do anything about that. But if you're out there beating yourself every day, the world doesn't have to do another thing. Don't beat yourself, you know. Just find that joy. Find that joy. Don't beat yourself, be yourself. There's one for the book, Jim. Somebody send that to me. No, just do the thing that helps you remember that infinite divine intelligence within you. Find that joy. And it's not always going to be, and I've said this before, but it's really true, this practice, this thing that we're not going to give up on, is our spiritual practice, our resolve to put the car back on the road. Like a journey of 1,000 miles begins with one step, but you got to keep going in the direction of. Sometimes there are detours. Not everything in an entire day is going to be, oh, so lovely and beautiful and great. But it's how we respond to those things, right? That either signals to the universe, send more. They're getting fired up about this, let's send more. Let's make the printer stop working now. Yes, let's do that. Let's do, like, whatever it is. Yeah, let's just jack up the phone for a minute. No text messages can go out. I tried to text you all day. Just whatever it is, that child of chaos. Next thing you know, somebody else's baby gets out of their house and they're all creating. Stop it. You can just say that to yourself. Stop it. Whatever it takes, and do that redirect with some of these warrior slogans. They're not worrier slogans, notice. They are warrior slogans. They're intense. And they're fun. And come up with your own and send them, and we'll share them with each other in the newsletter throughout. So I thank you. And just to remember that there is really one cosmic intelligence, and we are here cultivating a culture of consciousness that is a higher rate of vibration and dimensional reality. We're ushering it in. And I think about this when I realize there are now 8 billion people on the planet. And in not a small way, I liken it to, I'm not sure how many of you have deer in your neighborhoods. It seems like there are more, but there probably aren't. There is less room for them to move around than ever before. And if there are more of them, we're seeing more of them. Doesn't mean there are more of them. It means as we shrink, we're going to come in contact with more of these things that we either love. I love my deer. I don't try to grow things that I can eat in my backyard. It's for them. So I have my neighbors bring things, and they put them right on my porch. I don't have to do anything but be a nice neighbor, and I get nice stuff. But the point there is, just like people, the more of us there are, the more of us we're going to come in contact with. So it's good for us to be able to be in possession of ourselves and to be compassionate with ourselves when we're not. Things happen sometime that, make us not ourselves. I remember when I first met Helen, one of the first things I said to her was, I know myself very well, and at this moment I do not know myself very well, because there was a big piece that came into my life of grief, that I did things differently than I'd ever done them before. I acted from a place I was not familiar with, this deep place of pain, right? We can all relate to this. I was aware of it though, and I sat with it and worked with it. Did some things I probably would not do again, and recognized it was there for me to understand something about the nature of who I really am and what I'm here to do, and how I can communicate with people and things that aren't here incarnate anymore. I've always been able to do that. Now it was at a deeper place of love. It was a great gift. I didn't see it that way right off the bat, but who would, right? So whatever it is, be compassionate with yourself. I was compassionate with myself, therefore I have compassion for others. And I am happy to say I'm happier. I'm more joyful. I know I'm right where I need to be, even when it doesn't look like it or feel like it by other people's standards or even mine sometimes. Like, what am I doing? Have you ever just had the thought, what am I doing now? That's when you know you're onto it. You're on the edge. If you're not living on the edge, you're taking up too much space, right? So allow yourselves to grow and expand beyond the horizon and know that it's there. My favorite saxophone player, one of my favorite, there's so many, but Houston Person would always say things to me like, you got to see to the end of the street, but you want to see around the corner. So my invitation to you is to sit with what is. See to the end of the street you're on, where you are at the moment. And peek around the corner with your consciousness. Go ahead and allow yourself to expand beyond the limits of anything undreamed of possibilities. Because what awaits for you is more joy, more divine spiritual warriorship, to be able to take it all in, transform it like a Tai Chi master, and bring peace. Namaste. Yeah. So we're gonna, thank you, I appreciate that. Thanks for the clap. We're gonna, before we go into, I want you to listen to the entirety of a song called Corazón Global, which is the global heart, and feel inside the joy of all of that. But I guess let's do this first. I want to thank everyone for being here this morning. Give yourselves a hand. Nice this morning. Yeah, lots of guys here today, guys, so don't shy away. And so this coming Wednesday, as many of you know, we have the 19th annual Jazz Up the Holidays concert. And many of you in the room have gotten your tickets, and lots of tickets, and I thank you for that. But right before the show, from 6 to 7, we are having a silent auction. So Mrs. Claus, come on over and show us some of the silent auction items. We've got...
Dear, I would love to do that. Well, hello, friends. I'll tell you, those Soul Squad people out there are busier than Santa's elves right now, I tell you. Look at this, a likeness of my hubby, my dear hubby Santa. Handmade. Lovely, lovely. wait. I found this as well when I was perusing out there.
Check that out.
Oh, Mrs. Claus knows how to use technology. Beautiful. And there's
And the
earrings.
go with it. Check it out.
Lovely, lovely, lovely.
You know, if you're out there and you're seeing some of these, maybe we'll try to do some bidding from online too, just to totally confuse it, make it chaos. Let's do it. Yes. I feel like so.
chaos.
Either that or get on a plane and get here to see us. But for those of you who are going to be in the house, we're going to have the whole room with all of these things on display. From 6 to 7, 100% of the proceeds from our silent auction go to our beneficiaries this year. 3. One is SoulCall, and we are buying instruments. We already bought a bunch of ukuleles. We're distributing to underserved children so they can get their music out, and art supplies also. And we are partnering with a nonprofit called Motherful this year. Motherful is a nonprofit started by, it's a single moms helping single moms. And so they're going to get the donations, and also the Delaware County Humane Society. It's a no-kill shelter, and so some of your contributions are going to go to that. But 100% of what we get in donations from Giving Tuesday, which is this coming Tuesday, Giving Tuesday, and the SoulCall Silent Auction, thank you very much. The SoulCall Silent Auction, I'm just so excited. All the words are like, I'm having that typewriter effect. It's all trying to come out at once. All going to our causes. So thank you for your contributions. Thank you for keeping us in your hearts as the Bodhicitta. And the Jazz Up the Holiday Show, you can live stream it from anywhere in the world. You can go to soulcallglobal.org and get in-person tickets. And they're just really starting to pick up now. I was just saying, we've probably got about 50 tickets left. So 50 to 70. You should get your seats now and gift them. Gifts to a holiday concert. They make great gifts. It's a great show. It's the 19th annual. We start at 7. If you're worried about it being too late, you'll be home before 8:30 as you pick up your silent auction item and head on out. But it's a really wonderful show. It's super fun. And it's Wednesday, November 30th. 7 o'clock is the downbeat. And we thank you for that. I want to thank everyone who volunteered to help, and all of you who have sent contributions in to make purchases for the silent auction. We've got gift baskets and all kinds of things. Many of you in the room have contributed from the beauty that you create. Can you give yourselves a hand, please? I am so grateful, and I know people are just going to flip over. These things are amazing and gorgeous, aren't they? We have so many great prizes that you can bid on. So spread the word about Jazz Up the Holidays. We thank you. And what am I forgetting? Helen Yee, if you're into the Qigong, Helen has a new video on her helenhyee.com website. You can download it and practice all the time. I was talking with a friend I talk to once a month who suffered a stroke, and she's been practicing Qigong, and it's the thing that has improved her capacity to move and think and do things more than anything else she's done. So she's practicing up to an hour a day, and she won't miss it. As Helen would say, it's like brushing your teeth. You wouldn't leave the house without brushing your teeth. Got Qigong? So I want to thank you for joining us this morning, and I send you many, many blessings from my heart to yours. Be that bodhicitta, the awakened heart, and practice those little things, but practice them every day till they become a reliable part of your being. And wherever you are, even if you forget, remember that we know that, want to say with me? You are loved. Peace and blessings.
Cascada de luna, cascada de sol, me baño de luz cristalina y cristalina me voy, cristalina me voy, cristalina me voy. Navego un mar estrellado, diluvio sideral. Abro el pecho infinito donde fluye el manantial, de donde fluye el manantial. Abro el pecho y canto, abro el pecho y canto. Abro el pecho y canto, abro el pecho y canto. Corazón global, corazón global, corazón global, corazón global, abriendo pecho al infinito, corazón, corazón global, ábreme mi corazón global, este corazón me guía, este corazón me llama, este corazón me abre. Listen to the beat of a global heart. Listen to the beat of a Listen to the beat of a global heart. One family, one people, one planet, one love, 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 one family, one people, one planet, one love. One family, one people, one planet, one love, one